What is going on, everybody? Welcome in for our weekly podcast here at the X Factor Sports Talk Nation. For all your daily NBA coverage, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. For fun videos, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. And weekly podcasts like this for hot topics in the NBA, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. We got a lot of stuff out. We got a lot of stuff coming your way. So be sure to stay tuned in. Give us a like, give us a subscription. We promise you won't be disappointed. Go check out our All NBA Alphabet Draft that came out earlier this week. It was a whole lot of fun to make. It's an easy watch, and it's something you can follow along and let us know if you agree or disagree and which team you like the best. The topic I want to hit on today, if you can't tell by the thumbnail and by the title, is which team should blow it up. And there's three teams out in the Eastern Conference I really want to focus on here. There might be a couple teams that I could throw in the West, but not really. But this Eastern Conference, there's three teams that seem to be all there as of right now, as of recording, they're 10, 11, and 12 in the Western Conference standings right now. And that is the Toronto Raptors, the Chicago Bulls, and the Washington Wizards. I'm going to start with this Raptors team here because let me preface by saying this. In order to blow up, I don't know what it's going to take because, in my opinion, it's too late to really blow up to try to go after Victor Wembanyama. But at the same time, the odds of getting a top pick are not so favored to the worst teams as much anymore. So I feel like if you're going to do it, now's the time to really go in for it here. This Raptors team I want to take a look at really quick because let's take a look at their roster. They have Scotty Barnes, who I was so high on the start of the season. He's kind of disappointed me up to this point. Seems like he might be turning it around now. So I'm going to keep my eye out there for him. But Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, who's had a bad year, Juancho Hernan-Gomez, OG Anunoby, Christian Koloko, Gary Trent, Otto Porter, Delano Banton, Malachi Flynn, Chris Boucher, Precious Achua, Thaddeus Young, Kim Birch, and Ron Harper Jr., Svi Mikhailuk, Justin Champagnie, Jeff Doughton. So let's start by saying this. What do they have to give away in order to blow up? Who do they keep in order to blow up? In my opinion, there's only two names on that list that I would want to keep. And it's obviously, quite frankly, Scotty Barnes, who a lot of people were really high on up to this point. Kind of disappointed. It's not seemed to be there, coming off a rookie of the year and has all the tools to be really good in this league. I don't know if it's just the system. I don't know if it's the way things like the vibes out in Toronto right now, but whatever the case is, he's disappointed up to this point. But nonetheless, he should be 1000% untouchable. Wouldn't even consider giving anybody up for him. Other than that, the only other guy I would love to hold on to is Precious Achua. Precious Achua is only 23 years old. He's been hurt this season. He's only played 12 games, I'm pretty sure. Only 23, 6'8", 225. Very versatile. I think if you have him and Scotty Barnes, that could be your small ball front court. They could play off well with one another and whatnot. But nonetheless, if somebody wanted Precious Achua that bad, okay, I'll listen. But other than that, what could you get for these kind of guys? Who would be interested in a Fred VanVleet? Who's a team that needs a point guard right now? One name that comes to mind, and I'm not going to throw the Lakers in here because the Lakers come up in every team's trades for whatever reason. So if you think the Lakers could go after Fred VanVleet, be my guest. One team that weirdly comes to mind is what if I know the Timberwolves just gave up a lot of picks, so I don't know how they'd make things work. But what if the Timberwolves wanted to secure their point guard spot because D'Lo, he's been playing well lately, but like let's take a look at Minnesota's roster. Who could you give up in efforts for a team wanting to blow it up? Throw in if you have any picks to throw in a couple picks. I don't know if they have any, honestly, but throw in Wendell Moore. And throw in Jaden McDaniels, maybe even Naz Reid. I don't know if the Timberwolves would be willing to give up Naz Reid. But maybe even throw in D'Lo. D'Lo is not very old. D'Lo could contribute to a team that's trying to figure things out and turn things around. D'Lo is only 26. But yeah, Wendell Moore, I think, could have a role here in the league. So I would be very interested. Jaden McDaniels, I do like, and I do think he's a guy that Toronto would love. 6'8", athletic, can play multiple positions, seems to fit their mold. Um, okay, so there's Fred VanVleet. Who is who goes after a guy like Pascal Siakam? That, I don't know about that one, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be honest. I'm not a fan of Pascal Siakam. I don't know what you could get back for him, but I do think nonetheless there would be, there's a market for him somewhere that a team could want Pascal Siakam. But the key guy that seems to be on this team's every team's radar is OG Anunoby. I've said he's my defensive player of the year up to this point. There was a tweet that came out yesterday from Zach Lowe. The entire league wants OG Anunoby. OG Anunoby. Everybody wants OG Anunoby. If he ever gets traded, the price and picks are going to surprise people because it might be on par with what the Cavs gave up for Donovan Mitchell. Wow. This is a guy that can go out there and play with any team. Any team. He's going to go out there. He's going to defend his butt off. He's going to work really, really hard. He's going to hit shots. He's going to get to the rim. He's going to play his game. And I think that's really, really important because a lot of teams need guys like him. I mean, multiple teams could go after him. So who's a team that has young pieces and it's several picks to give up to go after OG Anunoby? I find that really hard to determine. But, like it said, everybody wants OG Anunoby. So why not go get OG Anunoby? I would love to see him on the Nuggets. That would be really interesting because I think he could play really well, especially, be backup for when Michael Porter Jr. is not playing. But you could throw out Nikola Jokic, Aaron Gordon, OG Anunoby, Michael Porter Jr., and Jamal Murray. That's terrifying. Give up Bruce Brown. I don't know if they'd want to do that, but give up Bruce Brown, Zeke Naji, and Christian Brown. That's interesting. And some picks. I'm spitballing here off the top of my head for specific teams that would want him. What about the Memphis Grizzlies? That's another team that would be really, really interesting. If you look at their roster, they have young pieces that they could throw in a guy like Brandon Clark, throw in Zaire Williams, throw in David Roddy, Jake LaRavia, Kennedy Chandler. I mean, there's so many guys I could sit here and name that, if you threw them in with some picks, why not take it? So that's this Raptors team I find very interesting because they can trade away all their good players right now. They could trade away OG. They could trade with Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, Gary Trent Jr., and still have an okay system for a year or two from now, depending on how high of a pick they get. If they get a really good pick back, that could be really beneficial. And so I find that very, very interesting here because we're looking at a team that I think should, because I don't think there's any realistic way that they make it into these top six seedings to stay out of the play-in. If they get to the play-in, they fight hard and get past the first round of the play-in, then go in a matchup in the first round and lose really, really bad. That's like a realistic, I think that's like the best outcome for this team this season. And I don't want to see that. I want to see them switch things up and go after some young talent, try to go get a night like one of the Thompson twins, go try to maybe get Scoot Henderson. And if you're lucky, just very, very lucky, you get a top pick and get Wembanyama. But nonetheless, I would love to see the Raptors team blow it up just because, they're 2-8 over their last 10. Fred VanVleet's really struggling. Pascal Siakam, I'm not a fan of. Go switch it up, build around Scotty Barnes and fit a team around him instead of fitting him into your team. So next team I want to look at here is the Chicago Bulls. They're sitting at 12-18. They're 11th in the Eastern Conference right now. Let's take a look at their roster and let's see what realistically could get done. Zach LaVine, there's a market I think always out there for him, and I'm pretty sure he's on an expiring deal. You could easily get rid of him, and I think it'd be understandable. DeMar DeRozan, I think you could throw him to a contender that teams that would realistically could see him coming into their system and playing really well. Nikola Vucevic, Lakers could use a better big man. Like you Lakers could use a better center. Go after Nikola Vucevic. Ayo Dosunmu, I would keep. Andre Drummond, I would trade away. Alex Caruso, I think that market's really, really hot for a guy like him. Buy into getting rid of Alex Caruso now and getting as much as you can while the market's hot for a guy like Alex Caruso. I think that's interesting. Goran Dragic, I think any team could pick him up on a buyout contract, whatever. Javonte Green, I think, could play a nice role for some teams. Derrick Jones Jr., I don't know how many teams would be interested in him, but I would keep on the Chicago Bulls roster Ayo Dosunmu, You could talk me out of Patrick Williams. I hate to say it. I was really high on Patrick Williams coming in. Just hasn't been there. But I think you could talk me into keeping him. I think in a better system where it's not too dominant, 2 and 3 guard, 2 guard, and a small forward. I think you could play better around him. Kobe White, I would like to keep as well, but if the right system's there, go get it. This Bulls team, I think, should blow up as well. I don't see them coming out of this Eastern Conference. I don't see them making it out of the play-in game. And quite frankly, it just seems like Billy Donovan's on the hot seat. Nikola Vucevic is only going to, like, he, as of recording last night, he had a nice game, but what's he going to do for you consistently? DeMar DeRozan's going to go get you 25 to 35 every game, but it's only going to get you so far. Zach LaVine, I don't know. I like this Chicago Bulls team. I like the pieces they have. It just doesn't work out. And I don't think Lonzo is the missing key. Like, I don't, if Lonzo's here, they are better, but they're not a top 6 team. They're not making it, they're not guaranteed to go into the playoffs. This Bulls team is another team I think should blow up. Go after some young guys. Go after some picks. They're a team that if they give it, if like, so with the Raptors, when they have Scotty Barnes, they have, if they keep Scotty Barnes, they have guys like Delano Banton that will play hard, whatever. They're not going to be horrible right off the bat. If this Bulls team gets rid of Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Nikola Vucevic, Andre Drummond, Goran Dragic, they're bad. And they slip. Right now, they're 12 and 18, like I said. They're 4 games out of 15th place. And this Pistons team, I think you could argue, they're a couple wins away from being where the Bulls are. They're very close games. They're the Bulls, the Pistons rather are in close games night in and night out. Whereas if this Bulls team really starts to give things away, they're really bad. And your chances of getting Victor Wembanyama, getting Scoot Henderson, getting one of the Amen twins, or getting one of the Thompson twins, it drastically improves. And then you have some kind of future to look forward to. Because right now, if you look at it, like, Vucevic is in his early 30s. DeMar DeRozan's like 33. Zach LaVine's in his late 20s. Goran Dragic is old. Andre Drummond's getting older. What do you have there? Like, this should be the peak of all these guys' powers together as a team, and you're sitting at 11th place. Let's be realistic here. Let's blow things up. Let's get rid of some guys. Let's buy into being bad. Let's let Patrick Williams go out there and just try to do things. Let's let Ayo Dosunmu go out there and try to score the ball. Let's just be bad. Let's get a bunch of picks. Let's get a couple young guys that we can throw in. DeMar DeRozan, I think the market, there's several teams that could convince themselves to go get DeMar DeRozan. There's several teams that could go get Zach LaVine. I think the market's hot for a guy like Vucevic. I know the Mavericks could use a big man. The Clippers could use a big man. The Lakers could use a big man. There's lots of teams that need guys like this. Go get them. Get rid of them. Fire Billy Donovan. Send him back to college. Why not? What's the best outcome for your team this year? Maybe you make the play-in game, and maybe you win, and then you go into a playoff series, and you get smoked. Let's blow it up. Let's go get Scoot Henderson. Let's go get Victor Wembanyama. Let's go get Amen Thompson. Why not? Why not? And this last team here I'm going to hit on is the Washington Wizards. Currently sitting at 12 and 20 in the year. 12th place in the conference. 1 and 9 over their last 10 games. Why haven't we traded Bradley Beal? Why haven't we traded Bradley Beal? You've got guys that can be traded. Bradley Beal, multiple teams could go get him. And I don't think it would be as hard as people think it would be to go get Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal is a top 7 shooting guard. I would much rather have Donovan Mitchell, Devin Booker, Jaylen Brown. You could argue Jaylen Brown's not a 2. Desmond Bane. That's just off the top of my head. Let me think about this for 1 second. James Harden, I'd rather have. Chris Middleton. Bradley Beal's not as good as people think he is. Let's be honest. He's not. I'm sorry. Get rid of Bradley Beal. Get rid of him. Paul George, I'd rather have as well. Paul George might be a 3, but I don't, whatever. Let's get rid of him. It's not going to be as hard to get rid of him. There's no reason why it should be a hassle to get rid of Bradley Beal. His time's come. Bradley, you've done a lot for us. We appreciate you. You're one of the best players to come through this organization, but let's part ways. Kyle Kuzma. Seems like the market's really hot for Kyle Kuzma. Kyle Kuzma is not going to accept his player option. He's going to be a free agent, and you know for a fact he's not going to sign with you. Let's get rid of Kyle Kuzma. The Lakers want him, even though that's a bad decision for the Lakers. The Lakers want him. The Suns could use him. I mean, there's multiple teams Kyle Kuzma fits into because he can be a 3 and he could start for you. He could be a 4, he could start for you, or he could come off the bench. The Mavericks could use a guy like, maybe not. I lied. The Trailblazers, I think, could use him. The Trailblazers need some help off their bench. The Kings could use him. Go to the Kings. Let's take a look at the Kings roster here. You send him to the Kings, and in return, let's think about this. You get KZ Okpala. You get Rashawn Holmes. Maybe Malik Monk. I wouldn't want to give up Malik Monk. Terrence Davis and multiple picks. Why not? What else? What better are you going to get, in my opinion? Kyle Kuzma's time has come. He's not going to resign. He's not going to stay. Why would he stay? There's no future. There's no direction for this Wizards team yet again. Another year of being subpar. Another year of throwing a terrible team out there and just hoping, you're not the worst team in the league for whatever reason. Buy into it. Get rid of Kristaps Porzingis. Kristaps could play with a lot of teams if he plays as well as he's been playing up to this point this year. If he doesn't just stand around the perimeter and shoot threes. I think there's a lot of teams that could use a guy like Kristaps Porzingis. I think he could fit in Phoenix. I know the contract-wise, it's going to be difficult because, he's got a big contract. But, oh well. Monty Morris, I think, is a veteran point guard that several teams could use off the bench come playoff time. Will Barton is a 3-and-D kind of guy that I think teams could use. DeLon Wright, another one as well. Taj Gibson, he's old. If a team wants to take him. But it's like the young pieces that would be left in Washington. Rui Hachimura, who I like and I think could provide something for a team. Nothing spectacular, but could help out. Denny Advia, who I'm not sold on yet. Daniel Gafford, who seems to be a nice young big man. DeLon Wright, you could give up as well. Corey Kispert, I think he could be a 3-and-D kind of guy. Isaiah Todd seems to, have some moments here and there. So you've got a couple pieces that if you add some nice young talent around them, if you get a high pick, you're not as bad off as you would think. In my opinion, you have a better direction than what you have right now with Bradley Beal, with Kristaps Porzingis, with Kyle Kuzma. What are we gonna do in Washington? How long are we gonna keep throwing Brad teams out there and act like Bradley Beal is an all NBA kind of guard when he's not? I'm sorry. I love Bradley Beal's game. He's smooth, but he's not an all NBA guard. He's not a top 5 shooting guard in the league. What are we doing in Washington? We have no direction. We have nothing to look forward to. Why would fans want to come watch your games? Bring in some young guys and make things exciting. Look at the Pistons roster right now. Jalen Duren is a dog and fits that team and is going to be a very good NBA player for a long time. Jaden Ivey, Cade Cunningham, 2 young guards that are iffy right now, that go back and forth, but have a future. Killian Hayes is playing really well. I enjoy Killian Hayes' game. What are we doing out in Washington? You can't say that about Denny Advia. You can't say that about Rui Hachimura. Can't say that about Daniel Gafford. Because they're not getting as much run. If you throw them out there without Bradley Beal, without Kristaps Porzingis, and without Kyle Kuzma, they're getting better. The offense is featured around them. And yes, you're going to be really bad, but that's the point, Washington. For once, just buy into being bad. Quit trying to build something up to get Bradley Beal into a play-in game where you guys are going to fail miserably. I love that, Bradley Beal wants to stick around. And I love that you appreciate him being loyal. But for the betterment of his career, for his legacy, get him out. And for the betterment of your future, what are we doing, Washington? What are we doing? So in my opinion, all 3 of these teams should blow up. The Raptors blow up. They still have a bright future ahead, clearly, with Scotty Barnes and arguably Precious Achiuwa. The Bulls blow up. They're really bad this year. They got a better chance of a top pick. The Wizards blow up. They have some pieces that for a young core could help out, but nobody that should be your top 3 option. Denny Avia, maybe number 3. All 3 of these teams need to blow up and fast. And I didn't even mention this Hornets team that are really bad and haven't blown up. They could get rid of Terry Rozier. They could get rid of PJ Washington, Gordon Hayward, Kelly Oubre. So if you're going to do it, you need to do it now because you've got the Magic below you who are probably going to stay below you. The Hornets who haven't even blown up yet and are still pretty bad. The Pistons who could get rid of a guy like Sadiq Bey and Bogdanovich if they even want to get rid of Bogdanovich. So if you're going to do it, you need to do it now in hopes to get a good pick. Because on the Western Conference, you've really only got 2 teams that I think consistently are going to stay very, very bad. The Spurs and the Rockets. Thunder, I think, want to try to keep winning games. And I don't want to stop the Thunder. I love the Thunder. Raptors, no future. Your future is maybe maybe the 6th seed tops. Bulls, you have no future. Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Nikola Vucevic, it's not going to get you anywhere. Wizards, I'm speechless. But nonetheless, let me know what you guys think down below. Let me know if you agree that those 3 teams should blow up or if they shouldn't. And if there's any other teams I missed that should blow up that I didn't mention. But I appreciate you guys. Go check out all of our stuff coming out this week. The All-NBA Alphabet Draft is out. We've got some fun stuff coming out. We've got several games that we've thrown out on the channel. We appreciate all the love we've been getting. We hope you guys have a good holiday. We'll see you in a couple days. Enjoy the holidays. Be safe. Until then, have a good night.